morning and welcome to Morning Delight. It's another beautiful weekend where we keep you entertained. Starting your weekend with entertainment is a real deal for weekends. Yeah. Welcome to Morning Delight. My name is Praise Audio and we bring you so much from the world of sport, entertainment, artistry, the cuisine segment, and so much more. Stay tuned with us. To kickstart the program this morning is Words of Wisdom. Let's see some inspirational quotes on Words of Wisdom. That was words of wisdom there. Those quotes keep you going, keep you in the society as a better person. Just pay attention to them and you live fine, fine, fine. Now to the next bit, which is fit and fresh. We'll be looking at the health benefit of walking. Let's see the health benefit of walking on Fit and Fresh.
Walking may seem like a simple activity, but it plays a big role in keeping us healthy. A daily walk can help lower the risk of heart disease, control blood pressure, improve overall fitness, and boost energy levels. It is one of the easiest and most effective ways to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
If you can walk, then you can live. And so there are a lot of health benefits associated with walking. And one of it is that it exercises the body and ensures that all the muscles are active. And it's recommended that you take about 2 to 3 pose of walking every day. This will enable us to keep fit.
Walking also helps clear the mind, reduce stress, improve sleep quality, and promote mental well-being. Whether it's a brisk morning walk, an evening stroll, or simply choosing to walk short distances, every step contributes to better health.
It makes your mind mobile. It gives you this element of creativity. You are constantly interrogating new ideas and updating skills and knowledge by the day. And generally, it makes you intellectually fit, gives you that mental stamina, and puts you in a perfect psychological state that differentiates you from an average lazy man or woman out there in the street.
The good news is that you don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment to get started. Just a few minutes of walking each day can make a positive difference to your physical and mental health. So, take a walk today. Your body and your mind will thank you for it.
Yes, walking is a bit of exercise. Sometimes, after sitting for a long time, you might want to just walk around a bit to, it's very healthy, like just like we have watched just now. Now, moving further, it's Advil. And what do we have there? Tailoring. Let's see what tailoring looks like.
Tailoring is the specialized craft of designing, cutting, fitting, and finishing garments to create a specialized, customized fit that enhances the wearer's appearance. It transforms fabric into personalized attire through techniques like darting and padding.
The techniques I apply when sewing is to take accurate body measurements, understanding body proportions, then proper adjustments like the shoulder, broad shoulders, the sway back, and the full chest. Remember, proper fittings is what differentiates a male sewer from a skilled tailor. Some of the accessories needed, first of all, the fabric must be there that you're going to sew. The fabric must be there, the scissors that you're going to use to cut it, your chalk, that is tailor's chalk, then your measurements, then some other things like the L curve, U curve, rule, which we use in ruling. I want to practicalize some techniques we use, or I use, to make some clothes.
Tailoring techniques blend technical skills with artistic expression. It is a timeless profession with valuable skills that transform fabrics into confidence.
All right, welcome to the guest segment of Morning Delight this morning. We have an interesting personality with us in the studio. He's a producer, he's an artist, a director. What cannot be attached to this man's name? He's no other than Alhaji Yusuf Bako, former chairman, Edo State Council of Islamic Affairs, and a retired public officer from Education Ministry. Before we meet him, let's see his picture frame. Welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, before we dive into the conversation this morning, let's see a vox pop that ushers us into the conversation.
Inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services, which in turn reduce the purchasing power of money. And this inflation actually leads to increase in transportation, housing, rents, feeding. Just list them. The list goes on and on. And one of this in turn actually makes young adults and family works with a slim or limited budget. And I feel like one of the ways we as the people or the governments could actually tackle inflation is to is changing policies.
The cost of living is also on the high side because if you look at the financial implication on that one spent on buying items, a family with 3, 4, 5 children find it very difficult to cope now. Then when it comes to issue of rentage, rentage have skyrocketed.
For instance, let the price of fuel rise. It will affect many things because there must be transportation, the driver to drive the vehicle, the amount to be paid in carrying this here and there will affect the buying prices. And when the cost price is affected, ipso facto, the selling price will equally be affected. What is done is that government will rise to the situation and equally elevate the minimum wage, the salary of workers. Because if you leave the status quo amount, you cannot take the worker to the office or bring him home. So inflation is the regular rise of prices. There's always inflation going up, and this is a part of econometrics, monetary system, trade, buying and selling.
The inflation around the world cannot be overemphasized. Hence, NTA Benin deem it fit to discuss inflation and cost of living in Nigeria, especially in Benin City. I'm sure you paid attention to the Vox Pop just now, sir.
Yes, of course I did.
So, in a simple term, how can you explain inflation in the country?
Well, in economic terms, inflation occurs when, in a layman's term, when too much money is pursuing very few goods. It's a situation where you have money in society without corresponding consumers' goods available to meet the demand of the populace. And of course, inflation occurs. It varies from the causes. It could be cost push, it could be demand pull. And then, of course, we can have the one that is hyper, which, of course, is what we are experiencing in Nigeria today. What we are experiencing today is hyperinflation in Nigeria because a lot has happened to the economy, to the fact that there's so much money, but there's no good to buy with it.
That's a very deep one. The whole thing spiked up from when there was a change in our Naira note. I think from then everything just became a little bit more higher. So let's talk about what do you think is responsible for hardship and high cost of living in Nigeria?
Fine, that's a good one. There are a lot of factors that can be deduced for why we have hardship in the country. The most recent one is the fact that in Nigeria being a country that is dependent on purely oil and have deviated from the earlier the earlier profession which our forefathers used to take up as one of the major contributions to the economy of the country, which is farming. That have gone a lot way to do a lot of damage to the economy of the country. Because if we were hitherto, as it were, being still agrarian country, there's much to be able to use not only for consumption, then we can have also for export. But unfortunately, even the oil that we have, we don't have absolute power over the control of the prices. And so this, to a large extent, has become the problem, the background of the problems of Nigeria as far as the economic woes is concerned.
I mean, it is considered that there is an high cost of living in Benin. So what do you think are the top 3 things that become most expensive for families in Edo State?
Benin is one of the institutions of the microcosm of Nigeria as a country. Therefore, it cannot be, whatever is happening to the country, Benin cannot be an exception. But of recent, I think what we can really visualize, that is, if you say 3, let's look at the rentage, house rent, and then we'll look at transportation, then we'll look at the cost of petroleum products, gas, fuel, kerosene, and then of course that bring it down to the outright product for those things like cooking, food and other items. So these ones are really touching because everybody is involved in most of all these things. It's either you are using firewood to cook, you need kerosene, or you are using gas, you are using a car, you need fuel. Then of course you must live in a house. So these are, and you must transport yourself from one place to another. So I think these ones are the major area that at least are much people are much hit with.
So what is the difference when compared the cost of living, especially feeding, transportation and housing in Benin City and other parts of Edo State between 2023 and 2026?
Well, if you want to make a vivid comparison, then of course you have to look at what has turned the country to what it is now. The period under review, there were no much of insecurity the way it is now. So a lot of persons have access to their farmland and other businesses. But today you will want to also look at the fact that there are a lot of migration from the village circle to the urban centers. And this migration is not migration that is productive. Because when you come to the urban center, you don't have a specific thing you want to come and do in the way to become a nuisance to the economy of that situation. People no longer cannot go to farm. Artisans are no longer be able to work on their product, particularly those who are using timber to manufacture furniture and other things. And it varies from one profession to another profession. In those days you talk about, then these things were just there, and people have free access to them, and the economy was booming. But compared to what we have today, a lot of persons are just stagnant in one position. You cannot have your job progressive. You cannot go to the farm without being harassed. Even your little place of work, your what you call your own professional area where you work, it is those who have eaten and sufficient with what they have eaten that will have enough money to come and patronize you in whatever artisan work you are doing. So that has make it very, very horrible for the people at this level that we find ourselves.
Wow. So in homes, how is inflation affecting daily decisions such as food, school fees, healthcare, and transportation? What can you say?
Honestly, I pity a lot of parents these days, especially those with number of children in schools, particularly the tertiary institutions, because every year we find the school fees continue to increase, and all the interventions that hitherto were there during our time are no longer there. You can hardly find, except with this government that has just come, we are now talking about scholarship and other things and bursaries. Before now, we used to have bursaries to help parents. We used to have intervention. We used to have free education. But those are just eras, the era of grace. Today, if you say public schools, it's difficult for you to have the prerequisite type of education you need in private school, except now that we have this government who are now employ 500 teachers and put them into the system. Later before now, the schools were empty of teachers, and so a lot of persons take their children to private schools. And private school means more payments, and it cut deep into the purse of the parents. Of course, a lot of parents have adopted a method of surviving 1-1 or 101 or just one, and then of course you take any other thing that you can find before you go to bed. And so unfortunately children are getting used to such terrible situation, which is not supposed to be. And that's why you find the hospital is so filled up, because of malnutrition and other diseases resulting from not. Because if you eat well, then you have less opportunity of falling ill. But if you don't have the necessary nutrients, of course, you must visit the doctor. And in all access is spending for the parents.
Yeah. So in all this, our civil servants, artisans, and small business owners in Edo State feeling the pressure, or it's different for them?
Yeah, there are two different categories. Okay. For the traders and the artisans, they won't feel the impact that much because they move with time.
Yes.
It's it's what you spend it, it's what you take in that you use in nomenclating your prices for the consumers. But for the civil servants, of course, it is hard on them because for some time now, salary has been stagnant, and the market they go to is the same market those artisans and those small business people who can make their profits from their sales go to. And so it's difficult for them to be able to compete with them in the same market. So it's hard on the civil servant. But I think economically, when there's inflation, those who have access to making profit, they gain. They don't really suffer from inflation as much as those who are consumers.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
We've been speaking to Alhaji Yusuf Bako on the topic inflation and cost of living in Nigeria, especially Benin City. When we go on this break, when we return, more to dive into the conversation. Stay with us.
Do you live in Aduawa and environs, or you need a conducive and open field in Aduawa for your wedding receptions, birthday parties, annual ceremonies, family or corporate events in a serene and conducive environment that is close to nature? Then look no further. NTA Benin Aduawa is the place for you. NTA Benin Aduawa has a large field for all your events and ceremonies. Also, at NTA Corporate Headquarters TV Road, we have a state-of-the-art fully air-conditioned ultra-modern hall for all kinds of indoor events with a standby generating set, therefore ensuring uninterrupted power supply. We also have NTA Pavilion for all outdoor events at the same venue. Guess what? Our prices are affordable, locations are easily accessible, venues conducive and highly secured. Our outside broadcast van is available 24 hours and can broadcast your events live. And above all, you can air your events on our award-winning program like Events and Style. And any booking on the field or halls gets a bonus of free news coverage. Wow! What are you waiting for? Grab this opportunity and have your celebration in a grand style. For inquiries and bookings, please call NTA Benin, the award-winning station.
Yes, so all the way straight to Mama Miracle. Yes, so yes, so for quality tester material, I say come Mama Miracle. You need them pressure shwebi, you know what disappoint you.
See plenty ashwabi for Mama Miracle Store. EJ Mama Miracle Store. This one too much. See all kind of waxy, whether na London wax, Nigerian wax, high target, Hollandese, brocade, Kampala, lacy, Yasek hair tie. All day whether for 1x1 retail or for plenty boku buy of wholesale. Mama Miracle Store. You get all boku, make you come collect her now. No need to the holla say I want ashwabi. Now only 20 I see. I not see reach 50. Foul. Mama Miracle Store. You don't get that now. Any kind design where you want it. Any amount of number where you want it. Mama Miracle Store get them. Make you waka enter. See them sit down for the head office 211 Motala Mohammed Way. The story building where they near Ekiosa for 30 Sekula. Mama Miracle Store. This one a big miracle.
Welcome back. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to inflation. But before we continue the conversation, let's take this quick vox pop.
Before, no day we be say if I want to go out, I want to even buy bread, get where for the buy bread. They buy bread, they enter. This time, sometimes for me to buy bread, go out once in a week. Now wahala. Even before I did buy one bag of rice. Sometimes things not to be, I'll go still buy half. But this time, to even fit buy one rubber, now wahala.
The government should look to it, because if you go to the market now, not that you cannot get things to buy cheaper, but the union is too much. The union is too much inside the market. That is one thing they should work on, so that who is bringing tomatoes will just put little gain into the tomatoes. Who is bringing gari will put little gain into the gari, so that the poor they can buy too, they can take care of their family.
Some of these issues we are having, they are even called by our sellers, the marketers, because they want to maximize profit by all costs. If you look, for example, it is very easy for them to increase cost of their products. But when such products even come down, even when they go back to market next to buy and the cost come down, they will not reduce it. So most of these problems also come from the seller, which is the traders. So by the time you meet them, they will need to give you different excuses. this is that, this is that. But they should also look to the problem we are having in the country and do the needful.
That was a view from the public, and they really crave the indulgence of the government to come and help in this fight against inflation, as it is telling on them very bad. All right, sir, we have been speaking on this topic. Now let's talk about basic food items. In Edo State, why is the price of basic food items like rice, garri, fish, tomato, and cooking gas rising so fast? For gas, we can understand that the fight of where we get the gas from. You know, there's a fight there.
For gas,
Exactly.
for petroleum,
products.
Because of, especially because of the recent war between America, Israel, and Iran.
Yes.
We don't, like I said, like I established before, we don't really have control over our crude because we export, and the pricing of that is determined at OPEC, and whatever is determined there is what we use in Nigeria here, among other oil-producing countries. Therefore, the price, whatever price is affecting that, will be forced on us, even though we are oil-producing state. In Edo State, well, for a while now, the price of rice has come down a little, and some other food item, garri, has come down. But things like tomatoes, yam, and others are on the rise. And of course, like I said, it is because of the fact that we do not produce most of those things here. When you now build in cost of transportation, you look at the production costs at the level of which they are bringing these items from, and the distance they have to pass through before they get to this place. Like somebody who talked about just now, the role of middlemen, when they have to now pay here, pay this, pay that, pay that. By the time you get to the final consumer, the cost is beyond what the final consumer can take. These are some of the issues militating against having the consumer having a free ride to be able to have access to what they can take as far as market indices are concerned. So it's not just about, first of all, in Edo State, like you said, we do not produce anything, I'm sorry to say. And the only thing I think we produce here is furniture. Yes, we are very good at, we have a lot of furniture company that are producing here, but when it comes to the issue of food, it's difficult because we don't go to farm. And those rural areas where we used to go to farm, the herdsmen have driven them out of there. So all the things we need to have now, most of them are coming from outside the state. And that, of course, because of transportation and everything is going higher. Of course, we will not forget to say that in Nigeria, particularly as it affects all the states in Nigeria, whatever we have, apart from the food items, every other thing that we consume, in terms of dress, in terms of vehicles, in terms of that, has to be according to the cost of the dollar. And the cost of dollar is, well, thank God, it has come down to a level of that people can now say appreciative. But before now, you know, it has gone beyond the reach of a common man. That determines whatever price we can buy anything in the market. And it's part of the real issue why the inflation is hyper as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Don't you think we Nigerians adapt to these things so easily? Because countries like Benin Republic, you know, countries that I was opportune to have been in Benin Republic for a while, and the price of a bag of rice was stagnant for 3 good years. It was just 20,000 CFA for that whole time. Groundnut oil was the same price for the whole time I was in that country. But in Nigeria here, if it's 50,000 naira, in fact, the demand is less than when it is 100,000 naira. So what do you think? Do you think we adapting to it? Do you think it's an issue that we should work on ourselves?
I don't think it's adaptation. That would be the word. I think it's market indices.
Okay.
Depend on the kind of the system the government is adopting. If you have an open market where goods can flow in from all other countries where these goods are being produced freely without necessarily having hindrances in terms of custom duties and so on and so forth. then of course those custom duties are going to be charged into the product before you get to the final consumer.
Okay.
But in the Republic, they have free trade with so many other countries across the world, and so goods move in freely at their ports. You find that a lot of Nigerians go to the Republic to go and buy even this what they call foreign rice, and even for them to cross the border to bring them to Nigeria, it's even a very big problem. And so all those charges are finally put into what will be the final cost before you get to the final consumer. I am happy that at least this government, to some extent, are now driving people to produce rice. If not for this security, by now we'll be self-sufficient in terms of rice production. However, we must not also forget to note that whatever cross the border, we look at the trade level between Nigeria and whichever country that thing is coming from.
Okay.
So in Nigeria, we import more goods than we export. And there's definitely imbalance in our trade. The effect of that imbalance is always charged to the final consumer. But in a situation where we have our product to export to commensurate with what we import, then of course the problem would have less than it is with final consumer at this level.
So do you think if these levies are lifted, do you think it will affect the economy?
Of course it will.
Okay.
But it will affect the economy. It will be better for the common man, but it will have a problem with the ruling class.
So it's like a two-way thing. We just have to decide.
So they always try to balance it up.
Okay. So what do you think? What support do you think business owners and civil servants need from the government to tackle this inflation in Edo State?
I will start from Nigeria before I come to Edo State.
All right.
The kind of support we give cannot be adopted by any government. Why? Because in inflation, like I said, when there's too much money in circulation pursuing too few goods, you have problems. And you ask a very basic question: how do money come into the society as far as this country is concerned? You see those upper house, the House of Senate, House of Rep,
right.
The level of money that they push into the economy from that end, if they can do something about it, to a greater extent, we can solve inflation. Because we buy from the same market. And if they tell you what they take at a sitting, the amount of money that passes through that system into the economy, you can combine states, yet such money do not come out of that state to the economy. And so if you have to start to control the economy of the country, we start from that level. Then we now come to issue of tax. So some items should be taxed by government. The purpose is not to make it look as if they are suffering the common man, but it should not be the items that are for the common man. Those items that are items of luxury for those class of persons should be heavily taxed so that the money can go back to government, and government can now use the money in return to produce things that the common man will need. Then, of course, we also have to look at the area of profiteering. And just as we talk about the upper house and the money that goes there, in inflationary time, a lot of business owners take advantage of it. And so for us to be able to survive such situation, organizations like Price Control Board and others should be established by government, at least to monitor the level of prices, so that it will not be too much on a high price beyond the cost of purchasing them and the cost of giving it out to the final consumer. So when this is done to a greater extent, it will go a long way to reduce. But for Edo State, fine. The present situation, first of all, we appreciate the fact that in years past, it was difficult for us to even trade within the period of festivity. But this last festivity, because of the measure put in place by the present government, there were free flow of fuel, there was business interaction between consumers and marketers, and to a larger extent, it softens the pains of the final consumer as far as inflation is concerned, as far as the state is concerned. I will give kudos to the present government because they are doing their best to ensure that at least out of nothing, something is being done to reduce the pain of inflation as far as the state is concerned.
Thank you very much. Talking about efforts now, let's do a comparison. So what policy do you think the federal government or state government have put in place that has affected the economy both positively and negatively, sir?
All right. Let's look at the positive side of it. For example, when this government came on board, they first of all stopped the importation of rice, and then decided to say that okay, they gave a lot of incentive to farmers to begin to produce rice locally. And that is the one that is very glaring. There were other products that are not very open to the public that government gave relieved for production. But I think sincerely, one of the areas that the government can really work out is to encourage local production of tools and vehicles. Because if you look at the bills that the country pay for all these machineries, tractors, bulldozers, and all those things that come from other countries to our country, then of course those resources will have been plugged into other areas of the economy to better the life of our people. So if we can advance ourselves from this theoretical level of education, paper qualification, and then begin to think about doing more practical issues as far as our universities and technical schools are concerned, then we can now extend beyond that and begin to produce most of these things within the country. Then, of course, to a large extent, then these items and tools can be plugged back into the economy of the country, and it will go a long way to improve the standard of living of not just the common man, for the average Nigerian. And I think on the other side, we are not still doing enough when it comes to providing security for the masses of this country. I want to say clearly, with due respect, that these road stops should be limited to strategic areas. And these officers should be drafted to areas where they can be of much use, protecting the citizen in areas of production, particularly in farming. And if that cannot be done, then government should take it upon themselves to establish farm settlements and provide security for those farm settlements and provide facilities for those farm settlements that even young school leavers, rather than bringing themselves to the city to constitute nuisance, can be fully engaged in those farm settlements. Two things can be achieved. They will be self-sufficient. They will have salary of their own by the time you buy their products. Yes. And there will be enough food for them to sell to the masses. And of course, this migration can be reduced. And to a greater extent, it can also solve the inflation of this country.
Let's zero this inflation now to our homes. As an individual, how have you been able to fight against inflation in your home, sir?
It's difficult because you are not living in isolation. You are living within the same environment where inflation is dealing with everybody. Therefore, it's only left for you as a person to prioritize. That in economy we call it scale of preference.
Scale of preference.
So if you used to eat plenty of protein, you now look at the one that is not that costly, that you can now use, so that because of the growing children, so that at least you now have a malnutrition in your house. And if you used to eat much of protein, you can now go to carbohydrates and mix it up. You just look at the area that have comparative advantage for you not to overspend. But mind you, bear in mind that there must be balance in diet. Otherwise, you will fall into more problems. Then you find yourself in the hospital. But above all, one thing is that you must. There are things you cannot avoid. Your children must go to school.
Yeah.
They must clothe them, and you must make provision for them. Then, to our landlords, please help us. Help us, please. We beg you. Because some of these houses, we agree that yes, the cost of cement has decreased, cost of zinc has decreased. But what about the house you built many years ago? Why do you now want a tenant to begin to pay exorbitantly to be able to survive in your house? Just know that if that was done to you, you won't be a landlord. So let your tenant be landlords too. We beg you.
Can you give us a word of advice to the viewers out there watching now as regards inflation, what they can do as individuals to fight against inflation?
Everybody should try and find something to do with yourself. Stop depending on government alone. Any small thing can go a long way to provide food on your table. If you are a civil servant, don't think that that's just enough. Two of you cannot be civil servants. If you are a civil servant and your wife is not a civil servant, find something to do. More importantly, don't let your children just depend on going to school to acquire degrees. This is a long holiday. Let them go and learn a skill. I'm sure that to a greater extent, when you have something to do with your hand that brings you extra money, you will be hearing of inflation. It will not bite you hard.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. You really dealt with the questions, and I believe our viewers out there have insight in inflation.
Thank you
very much, sir. On this note, we have come to the end of the conversation today. We've been speaking to Alhaji Yusuf Bako, the former chairman, Edo State Council of Islamic Affairs, and a retired public officer from Education Ministry. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, the conclusion of the program. Stay tuned.
Experience comfort, luxury and beauty, in and out. When you spend a night or more at Gabano Hotels and Resorts. Pays for our comfortable suites and rooms as pleasure without tax. Find the greatest relaxation in our garden, VIP lounge and restrooms, exclusive conference hall, meetings and seminars. Indeed, what a beautiful view at Gabano Hotels and Resorts. Visit us today at 3 Orlando Avenue off Bill Lagos Expressway, Union City. Telephone 081 00438202. Gabano. Beautiful walls.
Are you in Benin City and its environs looking for an exquisite home away from home? Bronze Royal Hotels, located on Akwakwava Road, is the right place for you. With its spacious and highly secured environment, Bronze Royal Hotels offers lodging services in Royal Suite, Classic Suite, Deluxe Suite, VIP Lounge, and lots more, all at affordable rate. There is also a bar, pool bar, gym, restaurant, and a club within the comfort of the hotel. At Bronze Royal Hotels, 24 hours uninterrupted power supply and free internet Wi-Fi is assured. For bookings and reservations, please visit us at number 121 Akwakwava Road, Benin City, or call us on 080-340-72030 or 080-55103539. Bronze Royal Hotels, a place of ultimate luxury experience.
Welcome back from the break. I hope you had an insight from the conversation we had on inflation. I mean, just live right and do a comparison so it doesn't affect you that bad. Up next is Quick Cuisine. And what do we have there? Ofen Salah soup. Let's see how that is made.
Hello and welcome to the Quick Cuisine segment of our breakfast show, Morning Delight. I am your chef as always, Hope It Has Runway. What do we have on today's menu? Today's menu, we're going to be making Ofe and Salah soup. For those of you that don't know what this soup is, it is the Igbo traditional soup. And here are the ingredients we're going to be using to make this soup. We have our already boiled stock. You can use meat, You can use chicken, whatever stock that you want. Then we have our fish, already deboned fish. We have our seasonings, which is the Maggi cubes and the salt. We have our already blended pepper and crayfish. Then we have our catfish to add. Then we have the most important recipe for today, the yam. This is the thickener of the soup. Then we have our leaf, the Oziza leaf. Then we have the spice for the soup. These are the spices for the soup. So viewers, sit back, relax as I make this lovely meal. Stay tuned. First of all, we are going to get our pot and put in our stock. So that's what I'll be doing right now. Put in our stock. Already boiled stock, right? Then after that, we put it on the gas for it to steam for some few minutes. Okay, now we're going to put this on the fire for it to steam for some few minutes before we start the main process of this dish. We're going to add our yam. This is the thickener of the soup. So we're just going to add it so it can boil together. Then immediately the yam is boiled and soft, then we'll take it out and pound it. Then we leave that to simmer for some time. Then we go pound our yam. We've pounded the yam, so now it's time for us to put it inside the soup. And then we'll cover it to steam for some few minutes. After steaming, we'll now stir it, then we'll now add the last ingredient, which is the Oziza leaf. Let's check our soup. Let's see, okay, it's thick already. Let's just stir it before we add the vegetable. And this is the Oziza leaf. This is the leaf we're going to be using. Then you cover it to simmer for a few minutes, then you remove it from the fire. Now our soup is ready and is about to be served. This is good. So our viewers out there, I hope you learned how to make this. Those of you that don't know how to make ofe nsala soup, I hope this video taught you more for you to be able to learn how to make ofe nsala soup. We have come to the end of today's episode of the program. I'll see you next time. So please let me just enjoy my meal. See you next time. Bye.
That was ofe nsala soup there. I mean, I became hungry as soon as I saw that soup. It looked so good and yummy. I think I would have a taste of it after the program. Yeah. So up next is a weekly highlight. A lot happened during this week in the society. Let's see the top stories.
On Weekly Highlight this week, the Edo State government warned quarters in the state, especially members of the Aye confraternity across the state. It vowed to deal ruthlessly with quarters found celebrating at any gathering. This warning came to the public after 2 suspected quarters were arrested at Uromi, Esa Northeast Local Government Area, and Auchi, Esa West Local Government Area of Edo State. The 2 suspected quarters, named Muhammad and Agogo, were nabbed with 2 pump-action guns by a team led by the principal security officer of Governor Monde Okpewulu. Speaking to journalists in Benin City, the spokesperson for the Edo State Security Squad, codenamed Operation Flush Out Kidnapper and Quarters, Noah Edemudia, said the suspects were arrested following actionable intelligence. The Edo State government has demolished illegal structures and caravans erected beneath the 130 kV power line at Egon Market in Benin City. The demolition followed the fire outbreak on the overhead power line 2 weeks ago. The exercise targeted illegal structures and stores located directly beneath the power line within the market, Nathan Dial. As the bulldozer moved in, traders rushed to salvage their goods while illegal structures were pulled down. Emotional ran high during the exercise as some stores owners broke down in tears, complaining that the government did not give them enough time to evacuate their goods and property. Others, however, commended the government, describing the demolition as necessary.
For our sport lovers, it's the FIFA World Cup season, and I mean, we can't do this without bringing you an update. Let's see Sport Reel.
Super Falcons head coach Justin Madugu has announced the 25-player squad for the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations (WAFCON), as Nigeria prepares to challenge for a record-extending 11th continental title in Morocco. The squad unveiled comprises 3 goalkeepers, 7 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 9 forwards, blending experienced campaigners with emerging talents. Nigeria will head into the tournament as one of the favorites, aiming to reclaim the WAFCON crown and add an 11th title to their impressive continental record. The Super Falcons will begin their Group B campaign against Malawi on July 28 before facing Zambia on August 1st. They will conclude the group stage with a clash against Egypt on August 5th as they seek qualification for the knockout rounds. Here are results of World Cup matches played. And that's it for Sport Reel.
Now we have come to the end of Morning Delight this Saturday. I hope you were educated on so many things like fit and fresh, how to cook ofe nsala soup, and so much more. Inflation is eating into the country so bad. I hope you learn how to, carry yourself and manage yourself properly in the society. Remember, Morning Delight airs every Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with a repeat broadcast every Friday at the same time, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime. If you miss the content, just go to our YouTube channel. It is there waiting for you. My name is Praise Audio, and I say do have a wonderful weekend. Bye.